Hello, good evening, everyone. Don't know if anyone's here yet.
Most people are told that type 2.
That's good.
We're done. No, that. It's echo. I don't know if there's anyone on here, but we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angel Guerra, and I am a manager for the United States Postal Service, out on leave, medical leave, and I am a United States federal whistleblower for said organization. The reason for this live podcast is so that people can see the retaliation I've been experiencing and the things that I've been going through in the federal government since I moved to Florida. Previously, I was in Montana, where I served the Postal Service very faithfully and never had any issues there. Nothing on my OPM, nothing on my personnel record, nothing. And yeah, here we are. So I'm going to read this little disclaimer. Those that jump in late can see it, catch the beginning of it if they missed a lot or whatever, and we'll kind of go from there as we go. The following broadcast is protected under the First Amendment of the United States Constitution and applicable federal whistleblower status. I am exercising my lawful right to speak on matters of public concern, including government transparency, employee rights, and federal accountability. Everything discussed in this live stream is based on verifiable documentation, first-hand experience, and public information. No private, classified, or personally identifiable data of others will be disclosed. The purpose of this broadcast is to inform, educate, and bring to awareness to ongoing systemic issues within the federal operations, more in particular the U.S. Postal Service, and their impact on the American workers and their families. This is not an attack, but a call for accountability, fairness, and truth, consistent with the Whistleblower Protection Act of 1989, the Whistleblower Protection Enhancement Act of 2012, and the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. The views expressed here are solely my own, and I do not represent any agency or organization. Documentation doesn't lie, and tonight we speak the truth. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Now, I'm going to go back and forth because I got some messages from people that other postal workers that wanted me to explain certain things that I've been through already that they're just starting to go through. So I got a couple of policies that I'm going to read out that's accessible to anybody. It's on the internet. Anyone could look these policies up. The Postal Service publishes these things so that the general public can read them. Okay? What's going on, Lino? You may want to get a paper and a pen real quick, and if not, like I said, the video will be up for a couple weeks, about 30 days, I think it is, and then after that, Facebook takes it down, but I will be saving them as documented evidence to submit to the proper authorities once my day in court comes. But I'm going to start today with something that hit home. And that's the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. So I'm going to read this little blurb, and I'm going to tell you why we're going to talk about that. Under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, it is illegal for any federal agency, including the United States Postal Service, to discriminate against or retaliate against an employee with a disability. The law requires the agency to provide reasonable accommodation, to act promptly and in good faith, and to protect the employee from retaliation while the process takes place. Putting someone on unpaid leave, delaying decisions, or denying documented medical evidence are all violations of Section 501 of that act. In short, the federal government is supposed to lead by example, not break the very laws it was built to enforce. And that's exactly what they've done to me. So, I did say I was going to read some stuff. Now, nobody's name will be mentioned here. I will just give the context. I won't give addresses. I won't give any PII information or personally identifiable information, because it is not only illegal, but it's a violation of postal policy. And although these individuals are breaking postal policy in massive quantities, I won't stoop to their level, because I know that they're looking for any little minute thing to try to discredit what I'm going through and my story. And you know what? That's fine. They can watch this till they turn purple. But the truth is the truth, and it's documented. On July 2nd, 2025, I requested a reasonable accommodation from my manager. We talked about this a couple days ago. A couple days later, going forward, I received a communique by phone from the nurse, OHS nurse, denying my reasonable accommodation verbatim, not in writing. Okay? They never did it in writing. They did it verbatim, which is illegal. That's number one. They broke the law. They was not supposed to do that. Okay? That's the Rehabilitation Act in a nutshell. I'm going to jump a little bit down on my notes so I can read more into this, because it's going to break down more ELM codes that they broke. So, Reasonable Accommodation Law, Rehabilitation Act, we were just talking about that, 1973, and ELM 546. Again, that's ELM 546, Employee Labor Relations Manual. Okay, Section 546. Okay, under the Rehabilitation Act of 1973 and enforced through ELM 546, every federal agency, including the USPS, is required by law to provide reasonable accommodation to employees with documented medical needs. That means if your doctor certifies a condition that affects your work, USPS must engage in an interactive process. They must. This isn't a thing where they get to decide if they want to or not. They have to by law. Okay? Not delay it, not deny it, not ignore it. We'll get to that one in a minute. ELM 546.142 specifically states that the Postal Service must act promptly, explore options, and work with the employee to find a solution, whether that means modified duties, reassignment, or accommodations. Now, before I continue with that, here's the thing that I didn't write it down here, but I remember it here off of the policy. When they reassign you, okay, and you're asking for an RA, they cannot downgrade you. Again, I'm going to say this again. The federal government, more in particular the United States Postal Service, is not allowed to downgrade you. They have to give you what is called a lateral transfer, or a lateral for the same level, the same grade level you're in. So in my case, I was an EAS 19. So as an EAS 19, they were supposed to assign me to an EAS 19 position. Unless, here's the little blurb, unless there is a specific position to which you qualify for, and it's, you know, within that range between the 17, 18, and 19, and then you agree with management in good faith for that transfer, and then it's okay. So that's the only time it's okay. But keep in mind, as an EAS, you cannot go back to craft work. It is against the union contracts. It is against postal policy. It is against the Rehabilitation Act. It's against ELM 546? It's against ELM 546. You're not supposed to go back to craft. And the reason why, and they don't do this, and they try to do this to me, is if you say yes and you go from EAS back to craft and you've been out of that craft position longer than a year, you have to start all over. You lose your benefits, you lose your pension, you lose your health insurance, you lose everything. Because you're a brand new employee and they don't tell you this, they do it on the sneak tip. They try to do that to me during my RA. They try to get me to go back to craft work and I told them no. Yeah. If Denora, if you text me or put it in the chat, I'll get to it after this. Yeah, I have all of this stuff written down. That's why I said kind of get a paper and a pen. If not, then we'll figure it out. I got you, girl. Don't worry about it. They cannot deny you this stuff. And they think they're slick. And that's why I was a little bit annoyed this morning because I got a letter, went out to take my wife to work, checked the mailbox, and I got that envelope I showed you guys a few minutes ago. Now that envelope, right, it didn't show up in my informed delivery. So that kind of goes back to what I was saying a few weeks ago, that the machine don't catch everything. Or actually, I said that in Lino's interview with me. The machines don't catch everything. And they try to lie and say that it does. It does not. That's a clear example. That's also documented, by the way. But we'll get to that. Not to mention the express piece that for my paperwork that we talked about last time for the furs that they sent out back in August. It magically disappeared like Lucky Charms and then showed up in October. But it was delivered. Yeah, it's delivered. No, we followed the policy. No, you didn't. It clearly states timely. 6 months, almost 6 months, is not timely. It's not good faith. And they broke the law. Let's continue. They cannot place you on leave without pay. We're still talking about 546, by the way. They cannot place you on leave without pay while they stall. They cannot retaliate because you ask for help. They cannot challenge your doctor's medical authority unless through proper legal review. When they ignore this, they're violating federal law, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the very values this agency was built on. Postal workers, hear me. If they ever tell you you have no rights, remind them that Congress gave you those rights in 1973, and no manager, no district, no attorney can take them away. Now, before I move forward, I'm going to go back a little bit and talk about why I brought all this up. So as I said, I received my super duper delayed, super duper held, super duper over the hill, over the top. Why did you even bother sending this to me letter? Just so they can say that they followed the policy. But I like before I read this to you, I like to disclose the following. The day of my RA, they had 10 people in that room. And these were all like manager of labor relations, which is this person that wrote to me. The district 3 labor person was there. They had safety there. They had legal representation there. Plus OHS, plus the owner, plus my direct manager, my MCSO. Here's the problem with this, and it doesn't matter what level of the organization you're in. Let's be clear. You are American citizens. Most postal workers are American citizens. Some of them are American nationals. But regardless, you have a right to legal representation. By law, they're supposed to disclose to you when they're going to have legal representation so that it gives you the opportunity to afford representation. So you can go get a lawyer, basically. These clowns had a lawyer in the room, and I didn't even know the man was coming. So they violated my rights as an American. They violated my rights as a federal employee, and they violated my rights as a disabled American. These guys are on a roll. and it's not stopping. Now, my doctor gave them clear instructions what I can and what I cannot do. Not only did they try to screw me by sending me back to craft, which I would have lost everything. Mind you, I'm a full-timer. I'm not new at this. I've been in this organization for a while. Not as long as a lot of people, but long enough to know when I'm being screwed. Okay? I was a supervisor, manager, postmaster, clerk. I worked in the plant. I worked in the offices. I worked on the retail floor. I know this stuff. I was a clerk operations manager during peak season. This stuff I know. And these guys are sitting there trying to tell me I'm wrong. The doctor gave them clear instructions. There's FMLA paperwork in. First documentation was submitted to HR. Social Security disability was already submitted in. Workers' compensation already reached out to them and questioning them about all these decisions they're making and why they're not following policy. And they still denied my RA. And I'm going to read it to you. But in short, they basically said, there's nothing wrong with me. I don't qualify. There's nothing wrong with me. You can work. Well, yeah, I can work. Except within the limitations of what my doctor said. They refuse to accommodate me. They won't accommodate me. So this tells me they know they're in trouble and they're trying to cover their asses now. Let's read this. I'm going to read the highlights because it's long-winded and stupid. Basically, we had an interactive meeting on the 18th. It was after 2 months delaying it. Okay. During the meeting, I responded. It says you responded that you would defer to the medical advice provided by your physician. The assessment provided by your physician states you are unable to supervise, participate in telecons and meetings, current work responsibilities, because those restrictions did not indicate any ability to perform the essential functions of your current duty assignment, and because there are no current vacant funded positions that could be considered as an alternative, the committee was unable to advise any suggestions for accommodation. And basically, in short, they denied my reasonable accommodation. Although I have assumed for purposes of considering your request that you have a disability. Assumed. So I assume I have a disability. Not that my doctor says there's something wrong with me. I'm seeing a psychiatrist too. They wrote it down what's wrong with me. Code verbatim. But I'm assuming. So they're basically saying the doctor's lying without saying it. They're wordplaying. You catch that? Although we have assumed for the purpose of consideration of the request that you have a disability, your request is denied because you are not a qualified individual with a disability within the meaning of the Rehabilitation Act. The Act requires that an individual with a disability be able to satisfy the requisite skills, experience, and other job-related requirements of the position at issue. Given the medical documentation you provided and the discussions with you during the interactive reasonable accommodation meeting, the District Reasonable Accommodation Committee, DRAC, was unable to identify a reasonable accommodation that would enable you to perform the essential functions of your job as a manager of customer service. So in other words, wordplay, more delays. There you go. You heard it live. And I won't read the other stuff because it has like information, EEO, which I wouldn't even bother, honestly. If they want you to go through the local EEO, but let me put this on record and say you do not have to cooperate with USPS EEO. It's voluntary. I didn't write that one down in particular because it just popped in on the fly as we're talking. But you don't have to you don't have to comply with that. It's voluntary. You guys can go straight to the EEOC. Here's the issue with that though. They're having me wait till next year, which is fine. I'll wait. But that doesn't mean the other stuff is not kicking in. Now again, I'll reiterate this. FMLA protected to the end of the year. And that's because HR basically tells the doctor they can't say it's permanent. So now you're telling the doctors what to say. So you're telling the doctors they can't say it's permanent, but you want them to give you a justification. So you see how the legalities here are playing? It's a double-edged standard. So yeah, we'll help you, but yeah, not really. That's kind of what's going on there. So I got this in the mail this morning, and I was pissed off. And I called my wife and I said, you know, they not only set me up, didn't tell me these people were going to be there. They lied on my first documentation. Got it there. They're lying on the interactive process that they delayed 2 months after their OHS nurse denied me over the phone. They didn't write that down though, but it's already documented. So go ahead. Ad nauseum. Which is why workers' comp reached out to them. Now that I didn't get into that too much on the last live, but there was like 12 questions or something like that that talks about this same stuff. Asking them, was it timely? Was it this? You know they're going to say, yeah. Oh yeah, it was timely. Yeah, I woke up this morning and I pushed the send. No, that's not timely. 6 months is not timely. And if you want to quote me, fine. 5 and change. Almost 6 months. The 12th of November makes 6 months. It's still wrong. So keep that in mind, guys. When you're dealing with these people, you have to be in your A game. Document everything. Write stuff down. Because if you don't, they'll try to take advantage like this to see how good your paperwork is. Now they know they're going to get sued eventually. It's just a matter of time. But in their minds, they're going to make you suffer because it's about revenge. But remember, they're not supposed to put you on a non-pay status, but I've been on non-pay status for weeks now. Non-pay status for weeks now. LWOPing me. They're LWOPing me knowing until this letter went, I got it yesterday, officially yesterday. So up until yesterday, at the very least, from July 2nd to yesterday, should have been paid administrative leave. Exactly. Yeah, Denora, just document everything there. Document everything. I'll send you I'll text you later on, or I'll put it in the comment section after the video's up. All this stuff I got in front of me. That way you guys can arm yourselves, because if you don't arm yourself, what are you going to do? Document everything. Okay? If you guys are going to document stuff in the post office, you can, because it's a First Amendment right. You can, but here's the thing. Here's the caveat. You can do the parking lot. You can do the lobby, but you can't go up where the customers are and bother them while they're doing business. Because then the Postal Inspection Service can come and tag you. But as long as you keep it respectful, you don't fight with the staff, you don't curse at them, because remember, these are people too going through the same thing we all are, okay? Some of them just hide it better. Some of us just had enough and we just say, you know what, screw it, I'm going to just let it out and whatever happens, happens. Just keep that in mind, okay? Keep it respectful, always. Remember, as long as you're not arguing with them and cursing and yelling, you're not being aggressive. Which leads me to my next topic of discussion. I received a text message, I think it was yesterday, from one of my new followers, and this one's for her in particular, because it's talking about emergency placement. Now I'm going to discuss this now, and we'll get into the reasoning behind that right now. Okay, under section 651.1 1.71 of the United States Employee and Labor Relations Manual. Emergency placement can only happen when there is an immediate threat, danger to people, property, or operations. It is not discipline. I repeat, emergency placement is not discipline. It is not a punishment, allegedly. It's meant for serious emergencies only. Okay? The policy requires written notice, a prompt review, and if management is wrong, they must restore every cent of your pay and benefits. They must. It is the policy. But here's the truth. Here's the bomb right now, guys. Across the country, this policy is being twisted into a weapon. They're weaponizing it. And I'll explain that right now. They use it to silence people, used it to intimidate workers, used it to retaliate against those who stand up for their rights. And that's not just wrong, it's a violation of federal law, and again, the Rehabilitation Act, plus public trust. Okay? Every postal employee watching, know your rights, know your power, and never let them use the policies to break the very people who keep the nation running. You guys deliver the mail. These are for the postal workers in the room. You guys deliver the mail. You are the people, the men and women that move this nation. The Postal Service is an essential, even though we don't get credit for it, it is an essential federal agency. Essential, meaning those of you that looked into this stuff, Lino's one of them that did a little documentary on it. You may want to jump on his YouTube channel, Miami-Dade Transparency. He did a nice video about the Postal Service and the history. You want to check that out. But in that video, I'm gonna quote something that happened in the 1950s. This is where they had the Postal Reform Act, I believe it was, or the Postal, yeah, it was the Postal Reform Act of 1956 or some. I always get those numbers jumbled up in my head. There's so many numbers, forget it. But in the 1950s, basically the Postal Service went on strike. And the president called in the National Guard to deliver the mail. They got these guys on recording saying they don't know what the hell they're doing. Like, no, we don't know what we're doing. I have no idea. Remember, you move this nation. You're just as important as the man with the collar, like me. You guys move the nation, you move the mail. Don't let these guys bully you. Don't. And I'm a manager and I'm telling you this. Don't let them bully you. Know your rights. Okay? Now, the reason why I brought this up in particular, and I'm going to give you a couple of examples where you can use it to kind of arm yourself up. Okay? When they tell you they're going to put you on a 651, the first thing you ask them is, why am I being placed on a 651? Oh, because you yelled and you did this and you did that. We yell all the time in here. It's a plant. It's a warehouse. You have to yell. Sometimes you have to yell so people can hear you. Oh, no, you were vulgar. The policy doesn't say anything about being vulgar. I mean, we shouldn't be vulgar. Okay, I apologize for being vulgar, but that's no reason to put me in a 651. You see how you twisted it back on them? Now, if they press the issue and they say, oh, give me your badge and I'm walking you out the building. You don't fight with them. You comply. The first thing you tell them is, I'm complying with your directive. Here is my badge. No problem. I am not refusing a directive. And before I walk out this building, I am now enacting my 650 rights of the employee L. most of them don't even know what the hell 650 is. Or they know and they try to weaponize 651 but not discuss 650. We're going to get into 650 because that's actually the next thing on my list here. Okay? So, when they put you out the building, don't fight them. Just go. Don't curse, don't yell, don't scream. Don't say, I'm going to kick your ass, motherfucker. No. Don't do none of that stuff. Just, I know you're going to be pissed because I was pissed. But you have to stay calm, guys, okay? This is for the postal. This is for any federal employee right now because this is kind of a universal thing. They got, for the Fed, they probably call it SF 650 if I'm not mistaken. But with us, it's ELM 650. You know, every agency has a different article number. If we have other agencies in the room, just take a look at your employee manual and HR stuff. Most of the time they post it up online. If they don't, then they have to give you a copy because that's also policy. And you just defer to those numbers, okay, guys? But now we're going to talk about why 650 is important with 651. ELM 650, the disciplinary process and due process rights. So now we're going to talk about it. The USPS loves to say, follow policy. But let's read what the policy actually says right now. Under ELM 650.2, no manager has the right to take adverse action without just cause. Every single employee has the right to know exactly what they're accused of and to respond before any decision is made. Now, before I go further, when I got escorted out on May 12th, I enacted my 650 rights. And the postmaster blew his top. All because I asked for my representation. But it's my right. It's in the policy. I told him in writing and to his face. And he still put me on leave without pay, gaslighted me, and violated my 650 rights, and placed me in a 651 constructive suspension because nothing was ever documented in HR. So again, that's another policy they violated. Boy, they're just stacking them up, man. Let's continue. ELM 650.3 makes it clear any investigation or action must be fair, impartial, and supported by evidence. So they try to blame me for 2,000 packages that I knew absolutely nothing about because it happened over the weekend from my understanding and I wasn't there. So how could I know about it? I don't have a computer, I don't have a phone, and I was in training. But the man still tried to find a way to blame me through a fake Gimba, try to set me up with a Gimba. I didn't tell that man anything either. Oh, you know, what happened with this packages here? Brother, I don't know nothing. I'm enacting my 650 rights. When I get my rep up in here, then we can have a discussion. And that just pissed the man off because he wanted me to sit there and just take it. Like the manager in BV, when he escorted him out the building. He escorted him out the building the same way, put him off the clock. But he didn't put him off the clock 6 months like me. It was 3 days. Looks like discrimination to me. It looks like he discriminated against me. Why? Because I'm younger than him? Something to think about. See how the violations are stacking up, guys? Interesting. Let's continue. ELM 650.4 guarantees your right to appeal. To have representation and to present your side of the story without fear, retaliation, or manipulation. Not only did they violate that policy, they had me come in for an II, even though I was supposed to be under administrative leave. And then they didn't give me any opportunity to defend myself. They just blamed me for the 2,000 packages. And to this day, there's nothing in writing that says I was written up or there was a verbal warning or nothing. There's nothing still. And if they did, they forged my signature because I'm going to say this now. So that is on the record. I never signed anything. So if you hear about that I signed anything, if they told you I signed anything, they're lying. I have not signed anything. I never sign disciplines. And that is something you all need to follow. Don't sign no discipline. It don't matter if they say you have, oh, you have to, I'm ordering you to. You do not have to sign a discipline. That is a contract between you and the organization. If you sign that discipline, you're agreeing to the terms of the contract. In this case, the contract is you were wrong. Don't sign nothing. Never sign nothing. You tell them, I don't need to sign that. I'm not signing it. I'm sorry. Let them yell. Let them scream. Let them turn purple. It's a lie. They can't make you sign. Okay, guys? Don't sign nothing. Across the country, these rights are being abused. Emergency placements, suspensions, or constructive suspension in my situation, removals, done with no due process, no evidence, and no written notice. So again, we're going to go back to 651. They put me on emergency placement without telling me they were going to put me on emergency placement. Then they violated my 650 rights because I just read them to you what they are. It doesn't say you get to yell at anybody and find them guilty without an investigation. There was no investigation. They wanted to pin these packages on me. But here's the thing, guys. When you have supervisors, tour supervisors, EAS 17 supervisors, scanning parcels from 5 o'clock in the morning to when I left the building, how many parcels do you think they're scanning every day? And it's like that all in my situation is all across Miami. All the stations are doing it. So all the supervisors are scanning parcels from the time they come in the door to the time they leave. And when those carriers are not able to deliver the mail, instead of them documenting everything in DCV, to keep their NPA scores up, okay, because it's all about an image, it's all about numbers, logistics, it's not about actual work or parcels per hour anymore. They weaponize that too. We'll talk about that in another live session for the craft workers. Before I go on though, they're gonna weaponize this stuff. They're doing it across the nation. Know your rights. They did it to me, they'll do it to you. The date is the 24th, I believe, Diane. So I've been home since May 12th, 2025. They gave me my badge back on the 17th, and then they try to force reassign me under the guise of training. Again, you just heard the policy regarding the RA. Well, you know, they're not supposed to force reassign me. It's 25, really? Well, I lose track of time. I'm here in this house, you know. My poor wife is working long hours now, and I feel real bad for her because I used to be the breadwinner here. How do you go from making the money I was making to zero? Like, I got my pay stub there. Zero. It's terrible. Lino too, he knows what I'm going through. But this is what I'm saying, like, if you don't know your rights, they will take advantage of it, and they'll keep it up, and they'll step on you once, and then when you piss them off again, they'll step on you again, and then every time you fight back, they try to face press your face against the floor, because that's what they do. You understand? They're taught to circumvent the contract legally. They're taught to monitor your attendance where it doesn't appear like it's harassment, but it really is. They send the managers to these training programs to do these things. I'm telling you because I know. Now, I have to choose my words carefully here. You guys are gonna have your moments where you're gonna get so fucking pissed. I wonder too, Lino. And you know what? At this point, any postal worker that wants to get with me in a class action, let's do it. It's time. It doesn't matter what level of the organization you're in. I'm telling you this. It affects everyone. These managers forget that they started off as craft employees. And this is the problem. See, me, I grew up in a home where only one person was working and money was hard. School was terrible. And, you know, I had a hard life. And I try to give my son and my other two kids, you know, the best life I can give them because I didn't have it growing up. Which is why I actually moved to Florida. Know your rights, guys. And I'm here if you need anything. Sometimes I'm slow. I'm not going to lie because I'm watching my son. He's 7. I'm doing the house stuff. But yeah, you can always contact me. Or if you can't get me, my wife, she can get the message to me. She's on Facebook as Jessica Lee. You'll see a picture of her and I together. She's been so supportive with all of this. I love her. And Lino's here too. And we got other guys like JH out there and Rick Rock, you know, that know this stuff. So reach out to somebody. You're not alone. You're not. Speak out. Say something. But let's keep going. Okay. So let's put recording cameras. Okay, here's the thing. All right. It's a double-edged sword. And I'm going to say why, Denora. The answer to your question is no. And here's why. The vehicle is owned by the federal government, by the United States Postal Service. And since headquarters is loaning you that vehicle, and you are hired to do a job, you're expected to do that job. Now, with that being said, as long as you comply with the policy, you wear your seatbelt, you're not on your phone when you're driving. Guys, come on. I know what's up. I tell you, I've been doing this a while. I know what's up. Don't be on your phone when you're driving. Wear your seatbelt. I know they suck, but just wear them. Drive the speed limit like you're supposed to, because you know those scanners pick up any little thing. You slam on that brake, beep, beep, beep. You pull back, beep, beep, beep. That sucker rings for every fucking thing. Just follow the policy and you guys will be fine. But yes, they can put cameras in the vehicles. I'm not going to lie to you. And it's only because of that reason, because they're loaning you the vehicle, so it's their property. It belongs to the federal government, so they want to make sure you're following the policy when you're working. Just follow the policy. Again, if you're confused at anything, reach out to your local stewards. Reach out to me, anyone else you know. Yeah, they can actually. They can hide them in the LRV. Yes, they can, Sheila. They can. They put a camera in a co-worker's vehicle. Yeah, they can. The Postal Inspection Service can tag the vehicle too. They're the law enforcement for the organization along with the OIG. So yes, they can tag it. Yes, reached out to me today. They want to come out with this story. It wants to tell all errors and abuse. Yeah, Lino, great. That's awesome. Yeah. Do that apply to, personally owned vehicle? No. Okay. So here's this is a little bit off topic, but I'm glad you guys are bringing this up because this is actually important. Okay. So as you all know, there's different crafts involving the carriers. They you have the HCR drivers, which are contracted out. They call them CD drivers now, I believe. Yeah, CD drivers. And the CDs, okay. Yeah, always assume you're on camera. You're right. Even on as a window clerk, you know they had those little cameras there. On the actual display, and they said, yeah, they're turned off. Always assume them suckers are on. Okay, so yeah, they're not supposed to put anything in a personal vehicle. No, I agree with Lino. They better not. No, they're not supposed to. Yeah, it's definitely illegal if they do. They're not supposed to. Nope. The only time they can tag a personal vehicle is if they have a warrant And even then, they still have to show you the warrant and tell you they're tagging your vehicle. So if they're not doing that, then no, they can't put a camera in your vehicle. Yeah, you got to be ready. It's crazy because they're trying to weaponize everything, you know? And it's a shame because, like, I like working with with the carriers because, you know, again, you guys deliver the mail. And I like working with the clerks because they're the front face of the organization. Remember, everything is a process. Some of us forgot, but let's be honest here. You need the window clerks because they're the ones that generate the money, right? So they take those mail pieces into the mail stream. Now, that goes to the plant, right? Goes through distribution, off to the plant, where it goes through all the machines and blah, blah, blah. And then after that, comes to your office, right? Now you're the carrier. Now you have this mail piece and you finish the delivery. So without the window clerks, there's no money. So it's always good when you have a relationship with the clerks because you kind of know what's happening in between. So just keep that in mind, guys. HCR CD drivers, no, they can't put cameras in your vehicles. Not CDS, CDS. Yeah, CDS, HCRs, no. Rural routes, they can. Because those rural route vehicles, unless it's privately owned, belongs to the Postal Service and they can tag the vehicle. So, for example, when I worked at Ronald Reagan in Montana, we had rural route drivers and then we had an auxiliary route. And those vehicles were all postal vehicles. So, yeah, they can put cameras in them. But if it's your personal vehicle, no, they can't. Okay. Any other questions before I move on, guys? Good live session, by the way. I love it. No, nothing? Okay. Let's continue. Let's make something very clear tonight. The United States Postal Service has a zero tolerance policy. Now, you've all heard about this zero tolerance policy ad nauseum. We've all heard about it. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't be this. You can't do that. You can't curse and you can't punch your supervisor in the eye and tell him he's an idiot. Yada, yada, yada. Zero tolerance. Zero. None. You're fired if you get caught doing it. If you argue with your supervisor, you're fired. Zero tolerance. I'm walking you out the building. That goes for them too. That goes for them too. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that too. That goes for them too. The managers have to follow the zero tolerance policy. They cannot abuse their authority. No, they're not supposed to abuse their authority. There's an M for that one. I didn't write it down. I probably should have. Maybe I think I did. Oh, yes, I did write it down. We'll talk about that next. Actually, you know what? Let's go back because that's actually M 665. And then 665.23 is what we're going to talk about, the zero tolerance. Cool. Let's go back. I caught myself. All right, guys, here we go. Under Elm 665 and federal law, abuse of authority is not leadership. It's a violation of trust. No one in management, not even me, not even at district level, is above the law. Every act of retaliation, every falsified document, every intimidation tactic, that is abuse. The Postal Service Code demands honesty, integrity, and accountability. And when leadership breaks that, they break the very foundation of public service. You heard the policy. It's in writing. Abuse of authority. My managers abuse their authority by violating my rights. Your managers, the ones that are in the room that are having issues, I'm not going to mention you by name because that's personal. Unless you want to call it out, that's on you. Okay? But the people that have reached out to me privately, they violated your rights. They abused their authority. They violated Elm 665. Write that down. Because you want to give that to your union rep when you go into the war room. Okay? For me, I'm supposed to have 2 associations that I've been paying into. One for about 1.5 years, and the other one since I've been a supervisor. And not one of them did a damn thing for me. I won't mention names because I said I wasn't going to do it. But you need to defend yourself. Because these people, they ain't going to go out the limb for you. They don't care. They still got jobs. They're still working. You understand? They make their little side agreements in the back room on your expense. Know your rights. Know the law. Know your job. Especially your job title and your job description. Very important. Take notes. Yeah, please. Take notes. And again, I'm gonna copy this stuff because I got it texted out because it's easier for me to read. But sometimes my handwriting is so terrible. After college, I jacked it up. But anyway, moving forward. But yeah, I'll put this either in the chat thread or text me privately. I prefer it privately. Text me privately. And my wife knows already. People reaching out to me. She's cool with it, you know. And then I'll text you this information directly. That way you have it on your phone and you don't have to be looking all over the place for it. I don't have an issue doing that. Or if you want, we could start a Telegram group or something. We could talk about that down the line, where I can start putting stuff out, and you guys just copy it from the Telegram group, and we lock it up. Make sure nobody that's not supposed to be in there, that's not vetted, is not in the room. If they're not trying to get real help, we don't want you there because we know you're a snitch and we don't want you in the room. We can do something like that. They also got Facebook groups too, but that's later. It's a violation. Back to this. It's a violation of the law. When your managers mistreat you, like mine did, Lino, other people in the room, okay, they're violating Elm 665. But the organization is not doing nothing about it. And when you tell them about it, they don't do nothing. They act like they do this. They didn't see nothing, right? But that doesn't make the problem go away. It just makes it worse because now you have a disgruntled employee working who's pissed at management. And now those two are going to be bickering all the time. There's not going to be compromise anymore. The trust factor is gone. You understand? It's systemic. I agree, Lino. It's systemic. Yeah, we could do Zoom meets too. That's cool. When you have issues like this across the nation, what does that tell you? What does it tell you? I mean, like, I'm not a college graduate or anything, but I mean, I have common sense. I mean, I know a thing or two. But if you see something happening here, happening there, you guys want to know a freebie that I don't mind sharing because they have to tell you it's the policy. So you know when you go on your light blue page, right? Because that has to do with this, so I'm going to bring it up. Yeah, management training is the problem. I agree. Because the managers are not being trained to be managers. They're trained to be bullies. You understand? I didn't become a manager to become a bully. I became a manager to help the post office. Because I believed in the post office. I believed in my job. I believed in federal service. I believed in it. And then all this happened. Yeah, that's fine. You gotta take your notes. All in all, you have to take your notes. It's abuse of authority. It's against the Elm. It's against the law. And we know that the Postal Service is still doing it because they did it to me. They're doing it to a lot of people. Emergency placement because you told your boss, you know what, you're being a dick. Really? That's not. You heard me read the policy. That's not a viable excuse to put you on emergency placement. Oh, you were yelling in the building. Everybody's yelling in here. It's the post office. We always yell. Oh, no, you were being disrespectful, so I'm putting you on a 651. What? You can't put me on a 651 for that. The policy doesn't say I have to be nice to you. These guys make stuff up as they go along. I had, and I'll go back, again, I won't mention the person's name, but I had a postmaster tell me I wasn't entitled to pay. on administrative leave while my RA was going on. And I quoted the policy to them. And they said, wow, I didn't even know that. This is a 30-year postal veteran who's a postmaster. You see what I'm saying? Not everybody knows everything. So if you do stuff to educate, what I used to do personally, I'm not gonna go too far off tangent, but kind of as an example. When I saw an employee doing something crazy, I would say, hey, can I talk to you real quick? Let's walk over here, away from everyone. Hey, listen, I pulled you to the side. I didn't want to do this in front of the rest of them because, sometimes your coworkers, they mess with you, man. I get it. I've been there. Listen, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did that wrong. Do me a favor, fix this up, tighten it up, and you're good to go. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. Next time, though, it may not be me watching, and the other supervisor may catch you and pull you into the office for an II. Now, what did I just do there? I built trust with that employee. I built trust with my coworkers. Because now this person is going to go and they're going to tell everyone else, hey, Angel was fair. Angel saw me doing this. Yeah, I fucked up, man. I should have got an II, but he said, nah, don't worry about it. Just don't do it again. That's what a leader is. Mentorship. Mentor them. This stuff that they're doing now is terrible. It's terrible. And it's not the policy. Know your rights. I'm saying this ad nauseum. Know your rights, guys. It's important. Okay, let's finish reading this up. So now we're going to go back down to the zero tolerance thing now, because that has to do with the first part of 665. Now we're going to do 66523. Okay. ELM 665.23 states that violence or threats of any kind, including intimidation or harassment, will not be tolerated. Yet every day across the country, supervisors use fear, false records, and retaliation to destroy the very employees who keep the organization alive. That is not leadership. That's a violation of federal law, the ELM, and the Postal Service's own oath of integrity. Zero tolerance means zero exceptions. And it's time this agency starts holding itself to the same standard and demands from the rest of us. As I just said, zero tolerance is zero tolerance. Everybody. So don't let them fool you when they act like they don't have to do zero tolerance. They got to follow it just like you. If they curse at you, you document it and you report it to your shop steward. Yeah, you heard a manager tell you that. Report it. Yeah, I'm speaking out, Diane, because this affects a lot of postal workers across the nation. And I know a lot of good carriers and a lot of good clerks, a lot of good overnight distribution staff. I was an overnighter too. I was a grunt. I know better. You know, I was a tour supervisor. I did it all. You know, here's a funny thing, and I'm going to bring this up here. It came up, I don't know if I mentioned it in my documentary interview with Lino, but I'm going to mention it here. When I started this whole thing with the RA, and I first tried to talk to my boss. I tried to say, hey, listen, I don't think this job is for me anymore. I don't agree with the administration. I kind of want to just move on. 2 days before that, if I remember correctly, my dates could be wrong because they've done so much stuff to me. Without looking in this pile next to me, it's hard to remember it all. But I do remember this. This man, this was back in April, I believe. My MCSO had me in the office. I was going to learn training and stuff like that. He was on the phone in a Zoom meeting with headquarters, and they were just reaming him. And I sat in his office, and I stood quiet, and I just said, whoa. And he finished, and I looked at him, and I said, I don't envy you, sir. He looked at me and said, well, why not? I says, because I'm good. I'm good right here. He goes, oh, no, you want to move up one day, right? You want to move up one day. You want to do what I'm doing. You want to be the MCSO. And I told him, no, I don't. He went, wait, what? You don't want to move up any higher? Like, he was shocked to hear that from me. And I said, no, I'm good right here. His phone rang. Picked it up. He picked up the phone. It was a guy from headquarters that was on the meeting with him, in the Zoom meeting. And they start talking about stuff going on. And he says, he starts talking about how he's going to, be retiring soon and all this other jazz. And he's trying to find a successor. And he's sitting right in his office. His name is Angel Guerra. This is the same guys that lied on my RA. The same guy that lied on my FERS documentation. Told this guy in HR, and it's on a government cell phone line. So if the feds really want to know, they pull the call from that day. They can get the call conversation and hear this man telling this other man that he wanted me to succeed him as MCSO in Miami West. And I looked at him and I went, nope. And the man on the phone said, well, you better get Angel ready up to par because he's got big shoes to fill. I smirked. What else could I do? I was flattered. I'm not going to lie, I was flattered. But I knew the responsibility and I knew I wasn't going to do it. Because me, I got my son. I want to be home. So the reason why I took this manager's job was, yes, so I could learn stuff, but I really wanted the schedule, so I could be with family more. Because as a tour supervisor, you're away from your family. You're working crazy hours. And I know supervisors in here, if there are any, they'll agree with me. You work crazy hours. You split shifts, split days off. You're never really relaxing. You're always messed up, hurt. And then you got to go back and do it again. So, yeah. This man told HR, this guy in HR, he wanted me to replace him. Then a couple of days after that, he escorted me out the building because the postmaster told him to. Which, what was that? A violation of, what was this one back here? Back in the beginning where it's wrong. Somewhere over here. So I think it's 546 or something like that. I'll try to get it for next time. I didn't write it down. But there is an that says you must follow the directives of your supervisor, except when the directive breaks the law or breaks United States Postal Service policy. This man knew that throwing me out the building on May 12th was a violation of the which is a violation of postal policy, which is also a violation of federal law, and he still did it. So all that crap he talked to this man on the phone about me was just fluff. And you're going to get that a lot. You're going to get people that want to fluff you off. They call them fluffers for a reason. Don't believe the fluff. Yeah, it's unsafe, illegal, and immoral. I agree. Medical restrictions. Okay. We're going to talk about that too. I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually the reason why I got this Dear John letter. Okay. So, never go against what your doctor writes down. I don't care what they tell you. They're not doctors. In fact, the day I had my RA meeting with these people that set me up and didn't tell me there was going to be lawyers in the room so I could get a lawyer, they basically violated my rights, my civil rights. Yeah, they're going to answer for that one too. There was no doctors, no board-certified MDs in the room. These are only nurses. These nurses were contradicting what my doctor was saying. Now, my doctor is a doctor, an MD, who works for a college for medical sciences, NSU. So she's not only a doctor certified by NSU, but she works for them. And these people violated what she wrote down. Yes, unsafe, illegal. That's what's in the I agree. Yeah, Lino, I agree. Yeah, it's I forgot the code number. I read it earlier, but I should have wrote it down. If I find it, I'll throw it up on Facebook or something so you guys can see it. Yeah, anything that's against policy or the law or immoral. You're not supposed to do it. This man could have told the postmaster no. He could have still held down to his virtue. He knew that I trusted him because I moved here because of him. Because he offered me a position when no one else did, and I was so grateful. I felt like I owed him. So my loyalty was to him. He had my loyalty. And he lost it that day by doing what he did. Because he didn't even look that man in the eye and say, hey, wait a minute, boss, let's calm down, let's talk this out. He stood quiet and said, yes, sir. Then walked me out the building. Took my badge, took my computer, and threw me out the building. I didn't even get my name bar off my desk. They kept it. My association gave me that bar with my name on it from UPMA. I never got it back. They probably threw it in the trash can. Yeah. Goes to show you what we're dealing with, guys. Know your rights. Very important. So, wow, yeah, I agree. It's definitely a shaking your head moment. Now, final thing for the evening, and I saved the best for last. Yeah, all of that was good. You're like, wait, there's more? Yeah, there's more. I put it on Facebook a little while ago. About Fox 35 Orlando. They did a thing over there on, where was it? I forgot exactly where I got it. Yeah. Yeah, no, I have it here. Let me pull it up so I don't give misinformation, because, you know, lawyers love that. I got it in here. I know I do. So here we go. Okay, let's get in this here. Okay. Get there. Okay.
There it is.
Yeah. With big 35, right? Okay. So I got you guys on my cell phone on the little what is it, the tripod thingy, and then I got my tablet in front of me, so I'm looking up and down like that. Okay, so Avalon Park. Here you go. So they found mail stuffed in the storage drain in Avalon Park in Orlando. Now, Orange County, and now they're talking about postal inspection is investigating this, and they're gonna find out who did this, and it's a mail theft ring, and blah 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 blah. And they found it in a dumpster, and they try to blame a mail theft ring. Couple questions come to mind. I'm not gonna say nothing too much, because then they'll probably try to say I'm interfering with a federal investigation, even though I'm not. I'm exercising my First Amendment rights here. Let's not get it twisted. I know the policy and I know the law, and I know what I'm supposed to do and what I'm not supposed to do. So this is quoted directly from Fox 35. This is not my words. This is what they wrote. That they found mail in a storage drain that has sparked a federal investigation in Avalon Park. Residents fear identity theft after discovering open letters and missing packages. Investigators say it's a mail theft ring to blame. Here's the thing, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing. Here's the thing, guys. Because most of us work for the post office and we know. Those of you that are new, that have just started following along, you don't know the whole thing. But if you go into my page, if I'm not friends with you, send me a friend request so you can see my stuff. Because I keep a lot of it private, and a lot of it, whatever's supposed to be public, I put public, and then there's stuff I keep that's private, just for, like, you know, the people that I know that's gonna get help and do the right thing. Here's the thing. I've been reporting this for months. Now, keep in mind, as I said previously, I've been home since May 12th of this year. So from May 12th to now, I've been reporting this. They stole my wife's credit card and debit card. They stole one credit card, they stole one debit card right off the mailbox. Because the carrier didn't put it in the box. They threw it on top. And I know who it is, but I won't go there. Because that's not about this. My kid's packages that he received from his grandparents, they threw it on top of the mailbox and left it there. My door is not even 50 feet from the box. They didn't even deliver it. They threw it on top and walked away. My package from Amazon the other day was delivered and thrown up there. Oh, it was delivered in the box. And then you get to the box and it's on top of the box. And I took pictures of this. And I sent it to the OIG. Nothing. I sent it to Postal Inspection. Nothing. I reported it on social media and I tagged everybody. Nothing. I reported everything that was going on. Mailboxes left open in the pouring thunderstorm rain. Nothing. I documented everything and I sent out several petitions to the White House, the OIG, the postal inspectors. I contacted customer service even. They just closed out my account. They didn't even contact me. They didn't even contact me. They just closed it out. Oh no, we're going to speak to the carrier and yeah, whatever, and closed it out. That's not what I asked them to do. And this is what I mean. They're not doing their jobs. So, my personal opinion, this is happening because nobody listened when we warned them. Again, I warned them for months and they didn't even listen to me. Now all of a sudden, because the news got involved, now they want to get off their asses and do something. What does that say to all the policies we just read? Are they following postal policy? Are they acting with integrity, honesty, and respect? Are they conducting themselves like professionals? No, they're not. Because for 6 months, ad nauseum, I've told them about this stuff, took pictures, sent it to them, documented everything, sent it to them, filed all the reports, and did everything I was supposed to do. Contacted the senator, the mayor, the congressman. Nothing. Nothing. Not one person bothered to do anything. And now, because the news is like, hey, you guys fucked up, we got you. Now they want to do something. Oh no, we're going to do this, and it's an ongoing investigation, and yeah, from Mother Scotland. Now, but for 6 months, I've been reporting this stuff. Contacted the White House 3 times. Not even I got an automatic email. Hey, thank you for letting us know. We'll get back to you. Copy paste. Everybody copy paste. All the agencies I contacted with my situation, copy and paste. So as soon as the video comes out that Lino's putting together, it's gonna be epic. And then we're still gonna have these things. And if you guys like these sessions where we go over policy, I'm with it. I'm with it, you know. I don't know what's going to happen with my career. It's pretty much over. But those of you that are still in, fighting the good fight, I'm here if you need me. If policies change and I don't know about it because I'm not in it no more, it's hard to, you know, I could only quote what I know. So if you need help with anything, reach out to me. My wife is right here, always with me. You know, she's my Bonnie. You know, we do everything together. And she's been real supportive with this whole thing. And you know what? I agree. Thank you, hon. I could look at myself in the mirror and say, this is Angel Guerra. They took my livelihood away, but they didn't take my integrity. They didn't take anything from me. You guys have to be the same way. Know your rights. Study. Ask questions. If you don't like your shop steward, find someone else you trust and ask them. I'm not saying go above anybody's head. Don't start problems. Don't do no crazy shit. I'm going to keep it real. Don't do crazy shit. Seriously, because it's just going to make matters worse. Always be respectful. Even though you want to punch your supervisor in the face, be respectful. Don't go there. Don't curse at them. Don't argue with them on the workroom floor. Don't battle it out with them. Keep it real. Say what you speak your mind, but keep it respectful. All right, guys. I'm not telling you to break any rules or anything. I just read a bunch of them to you for a reason. So you can arm yourselves up and do the right thing. Okay? Let my example be light for you. Let my sacrifice, let me be that martyr. Because I'm already am the martyr. I didn't ask for it. It happened. So now I'm the martyr. I took the fall, but now you guys know what not to do and what you can do. Again, if you need this stuff, get me somehow. Okay? I thought about writing a book eventually about all this stuff going on. I don't know if anybody's interested in ever reading that. Nobody reads books anymore. They do Kindle everything. Even me, I got like hundreds of digital books. But I got a couple books I like because I'm weird like that anyway. But yeah, guys, study. Me, I was born and raised in New York. Grew up in the Bronx. I moved to Montana for a couple years. Started out in Great Falls. Then I went down to Billings. And from Billings, I moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And I love Florida. I love the weather. I love no snow. You know, it rains crazy on and off here, but that's okay because there's no snow. Yeah, I love Florida. It's a shame that I got a bad hand. It's life. You get a bad hand. But my dad, you know, I'm coming up on the anniversary of his passing. So he died on the 28th of October in 2021. And he used to always tell me, you know, Angel, they can't take your integrity. They can take your life, but they can't take your integrity. The Postal Service took my life away. They ruined my career. Even though I had nothing in my OPM. Zero in the OPM. But they still managed to ruin my career. And I'm still smiling. You know why? Because I'm awake. I woke up. They'll answer for that. Don't worry. They'll answer for it. And you guys will get your answers too. Just do it right. Because then they can't say, when that time comes and you guys go to EEOC, you go to the labor board, you go wherever it is you're going to go, wherever this journey takes you, you go there and they can't say you violated the policy. You can say, Remember this little thing called burden of proof? Why do you think they're scrambling now to cover their asses with me? I didn't give them any reason. Yep, my emails were not disrespectful. Yeah, I agree. That's why I wanted out. I actually tried to go back to being a postmaster, level 18 postmaster. What was it, Zellwood? I think it was Zellwood. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it was Zellwood. But yeah, I tried to go back to being a level. I just didn't want to deal with it no more. I needed tranquility, and they denied that too. So yeah, I agree with your mom. Oh no, I don't want it back anymore, dear. Sheila, thank you so much, but I don't want it back anymore. I'm good. The trust factor's gone. These people did what they did. I'm done. I got my first paperwork in, and yeah, I feel free, which is why I don't care what they do to me. Good night, Diane. Thank you for showing up. I appreciate you. Say hi to Steve for me. Yeah, just know your rights, and I agree. What's that? Somebody wrote that on here a few seconds ago. Where are you? Trying to find the quote. Yeah, document. Here we go. Demetrius, yeah, I agree. Document everything. Yep. Document. And I agree, Denora, when you're not under the mind control of evil, you feel free. They're the ones that have to keep going back there. they're the ones that have to keep getting yelled at every day. I'm good. I'm not worried. The money's going to come because I know I didn't do anything wrong and it was all them. So it's just a matter of just riding it out. Ride it out. You ride it out, and yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Having kids and going through this is hard. Let me tell you. It's been a challenge. But my wife and I, we're very witty. Both of us are very witty and we're go-getters. So, my wife is doing her thing and I'm working on my side and I'm trying. Yeah, I'm going to fight until it's written in stone. But honestly, they can't offer me anything. That's the thing. They can't because they fucked up already. And that's the thing. Like, just document everything. Know the policy. And if you guys want to do like Zooms and stuff like that where we go over more policy, that's kind of where this is going anyway, a teaching thing, because the Postal Service don't do this. This is just me giving help to people like you guys that took the time to even hear me. So I appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Any more questions before I close it out? Yeah, get your CDL. Here's another thing that my dad used to tell me years ago. The more you know, the more marketable you are. Yeah. So the more stuff you know, you can make money doing other things, Yeah, they did. That's on them. Yeah, Lino. That's on them. I didn't ask to be a general. I just asked for accountability. But you know what? I'm good. Any other questions from anybody else? Any thoughts, concerns? Again, I appreciate everybody coming out on Saturday. If you like the Saturday thing, we can continue it. If you guys want to change the day, let me know. I'm very flexible. Especially that I have nothing to do. I'll give it a minute. When's the next live chat? Yeah, Jess, let's find out. Any thoughts, anybody? Any preferential dates? I know everybody's schedule is wonky. Nope? Okay. Well, then I guess next Saturday at 8 p.m. Or if you guys like Sunday, we could do Sunday at 8. Give it a second to catch up to you. Sundays, anyone? No, I guess everybody likes the Saturday. I'm in on the next one. Okay. So I'll get some more stuff together concerning my situation, and I'll pull up policies on that. And then we'll do the same thing again. I'll read them out to you so you kind of know your rights. And we'll make this like a experience for everybody. And if you guys got recommendations or suggestions, I'm always open to them. If there's things you want to know, like some of this stuff, they reached out to me privately to ask about it. And I said, I'll talk about it at the stream. We have other professionals from other agencies. I can ask if they can elaborate on some stuff or give suggestions also. Maybe they'll be willing to. Yes, I agree, Cindy. You can't know too much policy. You should know it. The more you know, the better. The safer you are. The less they can take advantage of you. And I know right now, they're probably rolling on the floor, cursing my name, putting hexes on me. Devil child, stop talking, lose your voice. But we're not going to do that over here. On this side of the grass, we're gonna do the right work. We'll keep it square, and we're going to do the right thing. Anyway, guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all for coming. Have a good evening, and I hope you learned something today. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. If you guys want to see a YouTube channel with this type of stuff, I guess I can do that too. But if you like Facebook Live, we'll just keep it here. No biggie. Either way is good. Have a good night, guys, and we'll see you next Saturday.